Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. You are tuning in to our last career panel series. So you think you want to work in hospitality. My name is Jennifer Manzanares. I am one of the counselors with Futureology. Joining me tonight is my colleague, Kristen Jones. You can see her there. And if you haven't heard of Futureology, we are a college and career counseling program for CUSD. We're all credentialed school counselors and experienced college admissions readers. And our programming is data-driven. And we support students a variety of ways, including one-on-one appointments to personalize the college and career process. And in addition to that, we offer webinars, workshops, events, virtual and eventually in person again. But we're here tonight to really give you all some great information about hospitality. You're going to hear about some wonderful insight from experts, which you will meet shortly. We'll introduce them in a little bit as well.
Perfect. So tonight's theme, like Jen mentioned, is hospitality. And by definition, hospitality is the business of housing or entertaining visitors, which is such a simple definition for everything that it includes. Like Jennifer mentioned, we have a great panel here tonight to discuss all of the different facets of hospitality, all of the different intricacies and jobs and fields that it includes. So Jen, if you move to the next slide, we'll give some examples of exactly what hospitality is. So hospitality includes so much more than I think what we typically think of as food and beverage predominantly. It also includes event management, it includes lodging, travel and tourism, and also attractions and park management. All of these facets we see across Orange County in a huge, huge economic way. We have a variety of wonderful luxury hotels and resorts in Orange County where people come to vacation. We of course have attractions like Disneyland, but then we also have a variety of corporate and locally owned restaurants and businesses and events that happen throughout the county. So specifically for our students, this is a huge field that I think is right in your backyard that maybe you haven't thought of or didn't even know that it included all of these different things. As we talk to our panelists this evening, if you have specific questions for them, you can put those into the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be able to bounce back and forth questions with them throughout the presentation and then also at the end of the evening tonight. So we're going to move forward and Jen is going to introduce one of our first panelists who's joining us tonight.
Wonderful, thank you. So our first panelist tonight is Bill Crowell. He is currently a restaurant manager who began his career in the hospitality field at a very young age as a server and a bartender in places such as Marie Callender's, Cask and Cleaver. And currently and then he moved into fine dining at the renowned Orange Hill restaurant, which you may have heard of. That's where he realized that management was pretty much his next steps in his career. And with that, Bill and his family moved down to South Orange County, where he kind of learned the ropes at places such as Hennessy's Tavern, Newport Landing, Stillwater on the harbor. And he's currently a general manager at a restaurant in Orange and has 3 children. 2 are still in CUSD schools and 1 was just a graduate of San Clemente High School. So we're happy to have you join us, Bill, if you'd like to say hi to everyone real quick. Okay, great. So we'll hear more from Bill in a little while. Next up, we have Lee. Lee is a director and professor at Cal State Long Beach. Earlier in his hospitality industry career, he worked mostly in restaurants and food services, and he worked various hourly and supervisory positions in restaurants and campus dining while going to school. After he graduated from college, he moved into the management world, working at Aramark, a contract management company, and later furthered his education and began teaching at the university, and is, as I mentioned, currently the director there. So we'll be hearing about the hospitality program at Cal State Long Beach as well. Lee, if you'd like to say hi to everyone, you can go ahead and do so.
Hello, everybody.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And then last but definitely not least, we have Corinne Youngholm. She is the advisor of the Recreation Tourism Management Program at San Diego State University. Is definitely an expert in the field with 20 years of experience working with a destination management company. As you can see, she's currently in the higher education field, assisting students in hospitality, and likes to promote the major to students interested in this field. And is, in addition to that, involved with student campus activities. And during this ongoing pandemic, she stayed connected to colleagues, vendors, and clients as well, just to see, what was out there. But, everything kind of circled back, and she remains in this industry because she just loves it so much. So we'll be hearing from her in a bit as well, and she'll share about the great things happening at San Diego State in their program. Corinne, would you like to say hi to everyone?
Hello, good evening. And I have one of our favorite students here, Alondra Hernandez, who will give you a student experience, which is maybe a little different than my experience with our program. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Alondra, do you want to say hi really quickly to everyone? Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alondra, and I'm really excited to talk to y'all.
Great, thank you so much. So now I'm going to go ahead and let my colleague Kristen begin the Q&A part of our webinar tonight.
Thanks, Jen. So the way that the webinar is going to work this evening is we're actually going to talk to Bill for the first portion about his everyday work and his kind of journey throughout working in the hospitality industry. Then after we speak with Bill and you are all able to ask him some additional questions if you have them, we're going to move on and learn more about the specific college role or the way that college can connect to some of these industries and things that you'd like to do. So Bill, I'd love to start with just some early kind of introductory questions. Was there someone who influenced your career path early on, or was this something that you chose to do completely on your own?
It wasn't necessarily something. My influences early on were as someone just getting into restaurants as a younger person. You had management who you admired yourself, and as you admire them, you start following their footsteps and their kind of guidance in how they manage people. And because that was an attraction to me, it made me realize that'd be something that I would like to do, pass forward to people, in the future, so to speak. So my influences, I would say, were some of the management that, again, at different locations, Cask and Cleaver being one of the big ones for me, was the style of leadership and the way they groomed us to be better employees and better workers and made you want to work for them. I knew at that point that that'd be something I would want to pass on once I had that experience myself.
Awesome. And just to clarify, Bill, did you decide to pursue higher education as a part of your career trajectory, or did you start working and never stop?
I did start working and never stopped. I was going to college at the same time, yet I was serving as a bridge to get through school.
Sure.
So I was kind of doing both at the same time, I suppose. And as I got more and more comfortable within the restaurant system and within hospitality and learning more within the business, I was just that much more attracted to it. To me, it was something a little bit unique, a little bit different. Not being in an office all day long, kind of moving around, meeting a lot of people. It was just something that kind of gravitated towards me and me towards it.
Awesome. I'm going to pass it back over to Jen, and she's going to get into some of Bill's earlier work experience leading up to his management position currently.
Great. So Bill, now if you can share with us a little bit about what were your first early jobs or internships like? And if you could also share, in addition to that, what are some valuable skills you were learning early on through those experiences?
My very first restaurant job was actually as a busser at a Marie Callender's. I was probably a sophomore in high school, I would say. So I'm bussing tables at a Marie Callender's, working with pretty much everybody is older than I am, and kind of learning how to both navigate work experience along with obviously going to school. And as while doing that, that balance, and of course a social life too, as a kid, you want to have a social life. I just enjoyed I think I just enjoyed the fast-paced atmosphere of the business itself. And it was just something that I felt like everybody, since everybody was older than me, I kind of looked at everybody as kind of leadership. It could be a server or it could be a manager. It didn't really matter because everybody, you kind of look up to everybody as a child. And so it just taught me a lot of discipline, a lot of punctuality, hard work, getting through busy situations and finishing the task at hand, and kind of feeling like a job well done towards the end of a busy night.
Got it. Great. Thank you. Sounds like it was very, very fruitful, those early days in your career.
It was, and it was in developing friendships with people that you just never would have met before, because there's just so many people coming in and out of a building. You get to meet a lot of people in this business, and that's something I really enjoy.
Awesome. I can imagine that's a beautiful thing to be able to connect
Yeah,
with so many different people from different walks of life, I'm sure.
sure.
So now we're going to go ahead and pass it back to Kristen to ask the following question. Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Okay, Bill, so moving through some of your career trajectory, now you are a manager of a restaurant. Can you describe what a typical day looks like for you? Like, what behind the scenes details do you think that students or someone would want to know about the work that you do that maybe they wouldn't know just looking in from the outside?
Well, there's certainly a daily routine that you would do in operations of a restaurant. Typical day might be, it would depend on whether you're opening or closing, but let's say I'm opening a restaurant for the day. The first thing you do is you walk through the building. You make sure, look, how does it look? How was it set up from the night before? Was everything put away proper? Is everything clean? Is there anything, any equipment that may not be working? You also look at your staff for what you've got going on for that day. There's other elements to look at. What's the weather like? Any events going on? What's your schedule like? And the very next step is, of course, counting cash and making sure that, as far as the daily routine goes, counting the safe, making sure all the money is rectified from the night before, making sure everything is all dialed for that particular day. And you're kind of setting yourself up for success for that particular day. And that would have been my routine. It was almost like a checklist that you would do. And we had one, and we would kind of go down the little list. And there's a lot to do before the restaurant actually opens up for the actual day. You want to make, obviously you need staff to show up on time. You need staff to be well. You need things to be kind of moving in its proper order while you are in the office doing your whatever you may have to be doing within the system to make sure the books are balanced, so to speak.
Awesome. And can you describe the opposite? Like, if you were going in to close the restaurant, what would that look like? Obviously there's some type of checklist, but what other details or detailed work would be included?
Very first thing you would do is you enter a restaurant, say mid shift or midday, so to speak. You're closing the restaurant for the night. You would speak with the manager who did work throughout the day, get whatever daily notes they had for that particular day. How was the day? What's going on? What's going on for the night? Anybody call in? Anybody call out? Where are we at for reservations? That type of thing. So that would be the very first thing you do. And count money, of course, is always a big, counting the safe, making sure everything's set up. So you do that in the daytime, you do that in the evening too, but right before you start your shift. Who is your staff for the night? And really it's kind of handing off the baton for the evening. So when you do a mid shift, I mean, the restaurant's already open, people are already moving around, and there can be some hurdles that you might hit. You might walk into a very busy restaurant where things were a little tight or a little stressed out, and you need to kind of get things back in order. Or, if things went smoothly, or say it was kind of a quiet day, you walk into kind of an easier shift. But regardless, you're walking into something that may be a little bit unique for that day.
Sure. I love that you're describing, Bill, even for me, I have not worked in a restaurant, at least in a very long time, that what we see on the surface level seems to be, of course, customer service oriented, but there's so much organizational work and attention to detail that happens behind the scenes to make sure that a business can run properly and that it can perform the way that you'd like it to perform as a functioning restaurant and business.
Oh, of course. I mean, as you enter the parking lot, you see it. You look at the outside of the building. What's the parking lot look like? How full is it? Is there any debris outside? It's like a quick check, and it becomes kind of automatic. But you're kind of you're going into your house and you're seeing how your houses look. Is it kept up or is it not kept up? And if it's not, then you get in there and you just get to work, clean it up, make things look nice, help out whatever may have happened in the daytime. Or if it's all set up for success for the evening, then it's kind of an easy, like I said, an easy handoff. And then you just kind of coast into hopefully a good night. But regardless, you want to set yourself up for success for whatever shift you've got and with whatever staff you've got that is working with you.
Super important details. Just out of curiosity, Bill, at a restaurant like yours, as a part of your management position, are you responsible for like ordering food or any of those details that are included with the kitchen, or is that a separate position?
So we have kitchen management that would take care of that, but they would meet with me as far as a set budget goes for that week. And so you've got a set budget set for whatever sales may have been forecasted for that week.
Mhm.
Based on that forecast, you've got a X amount of dollars kind of set up to what you want to spend. They will say where we are at as far as product goes. Same would go with bar product, same would go for cleaning supplies, whatever. And it's all based on percentages. It's all kind of a profit and loss statement goes down right down to percentages and what numbers you want to hit set on a set budget, so to speak. So where are we at? What do we have? What do we not have? But yes, I would oversee all of that myself.
Wow.
I would be hands-on with everybody as far as that goes in the position I'm in.
Awesome. Those are just extra details that I wanted to clarify and make sure that our students knew about. So,
Oh, sure. And it's support of the staff. It's support of your other management. You know, you're a team. And so the only way to do this is to work together and to communicate. And communication is so key in all this stuff. It
awesome.
really is.
Well, thanks, Bill. I'm going to pass it back off to Jen, and she's going to keep us moving through our questions.
Sure.
Great, thank you. I love how you said that it's like your house, right? That really reaffirms that it's a good fit for you. And that's what we hope for all our students to eventually find in their careers.
Oh, sure. I say this I said it just a couple of days ago. It's hospitality. Be hospitable. It starts with that. You're welcoming people into your house, and literally you're a family working in this place. It could be a corporate restaurant or it could be a mom and pop restaurant, but it really is hospitality. And if you're going to be hospitality, you need to have your house set up to welcome your guests.
Yeah,
Exactly
totally. And you actually led me into a question that we had in mind as well. Could you take a moment to kind of describe the differences of working, in a family type of restaurant versus like a chain restaurant? Could you share that with us?
Sure. I would say that a family-run restaurant. So I lived here in San Clemente. There are a lot of just single operated restaurants. I just had this conversation the other day with someone over at where I'm at right now, which is a corporate with multi-units. A place where there's multiple restaurants of the same name works on a system. And that's what's so great about that. There's a system that works for everybody. So whichever location you're at, it's the same system. There's an answer for everything. And it's very nice. It's actually refreshing. When you work in a mom and pop type of place, which I like to call it that, or a family owned type of restaurant, it works. I don't want to say corporate doesn't have a heartbeat, but the heartbeat's more important in a family style restaurant because it's really community driven. You need the people that are right around you to want to come in there and feel that warmth. So it's even more important in something like that. The difference on a mom and pop type place is that there's not always an answer for everything. Sometimes you have to kind of pivot and you have to make quick decisions because there's not that system set into place that you might see in a big corporation. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it makes sense. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing because yeah, they seem like completely different environments for sure.
They are. I really think that they are.
Thank you for the insight. So for the next question, so what would you say is the most challenging part of your work? And then on the flip side, what would you say is the part you enjoy the most?
Let's see. The most challenging part, it's probably the same. It's both answers really, because managing people, I think, is more important than managing numbers. You can make a mistake with a number in the back, but you can correct that mistake. But managing people is totally different. you can only, you have one chance to get a guest, and you can win them over, of course, if things aren't working well, but you have a lot of different personalities walking into the building, and it's not just the personalities of the guests, it's also the different personalities of the staff itself. When they come in, it's a matter of getting the most out of each individual, A, B, C, and D, whoever these people may be, under the same set of rules. And how do you motivate how do you motivate that person to be the best they can be? That can be complicated because you don't know what kind of day these people had as they enter the building.
Mhm.
And depending on whatever happened with them, you need to kind of guide them in a way to make them still want to be successful in what they are doing themselves. They're not always motivated to do that. Same goes with a guest who may come in not having the best day in the world, and so they're kind of nitpicking at things. That can be very challenging. At the same time, I also would say that's the most rewarding, because as they leave the building, whether it be a staff member or a guest, I personally love the idea of them leaving feeling like they're glad they were here. So I guess it's one and the same. It used to be numbers back in the day, but once I got used to all the numbers and the set positions and so forth, it became more automatic on that end. So really, to me, or yeah, another difficult part might be if some equipment breaks down, something like that. It could be a plumbing issue, or something in the kitchen just suddenly is misfiring. Of course, that's a, it's a bit of a red alert, and you got to fix it quickly. But that's probably less of a concern to me than just managing people.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Setbacks are common in a variety, in all industries, right? But
Exactly.
yeah, how you approach it is really what will make you successful.
I think so too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bill.
Of course.
Now we're going to hear from Kristen for the next question.
This is actually our last question, Bill. So feel free to elaborate as much as you'd like, because I know that this is a very leading, but can definitely be an all-inclusive question as well. For our students that are joining us tonight or who are watching this later, what is a skill they can invest in or learn more about if they want to work in hospitality, in a restaurant or otherwise? What are things that you think are really foundational, basic things that our students can start to learn even as a sophomore in high school?
I think that I personally feel as though there is a skill set that you learn in working in the service industry, and restaurants obviously being a big deal as far as that goes, that you could take to wherever else you are going to go with your career path, or with relationships with family or anybody else, because you do deal with a lot of different people. You have to be able to manage a lot of things very quickly. It's like a wave of people that come in, and it's how you navigate through that you can take with you in all walks of life. So if you're just working in a restaurant as a busboy in high school, and when you go off to college, you're going to be doing something else, it's going to give you a skill set of what it's like to deal with a lot of different personalities. So when you do move away to college, you now know what it's like to navigate different people. I would say the same if you were to stick around in the industry and you wanted to grow with it. There are skill sets that just they start layering up, I think. And I just think they can be applied to all walks of life as far as that goes. And to me, that's what's such a real big deal about working in hospitality, because there's different avenues, of course. If you decide to go into management, you're going to learn a bunch of different skill sets. If you decide just to be a server, it's how do you navigate a very busy situation very quickly, because you have to rapid fire make very quick decisions, and they need to be the correct decisions in a heartbeat. There's a lot of stress that's involved in that. So you learn how to manage stress. You learn how to move quickly, how to be efficient, and how to get the task done with a team of people, by the way, and work well with them too, to finish whatever this task might be. And I think that is something that's I can't put a value on it. I just think it's incredible.
I think so too. And you brought up a really great point, Bill, for a student who, maybe college is not in their current plan and they are really interested in an industry like this. Do you still see that there is a nice mix of individuals who've chosen to go the college route or who have worked their way up through a variety of experiences and opportunities? What is the general breakdown of the staff that you hire or at the restaurants where you've worked at?
Most of the people that I work with are people who maybe they were floating a little bit and they weren't sure what they wanted to do. that's probably the majority of the people. There's definitely another mix of people that they had a career path. They knew that's what they wanted to do, and they're also taking college courses in restaurant and hotel management, and that is their set goal. And to get their feet wet, they started working in a restaurant system. Either way, though, there's definitely all kinds of walks of life that do come on into something like that. And I just again feel as though it's a very good system for someone to get. If you want to work with people, this would be a very good starting point. Whether working with people in another industry is what your end goal is, this is a great starting point. It just is, because you deal with all kinds of different situations, different scenarios, and there's and nothing where sometimes it can seem a bit routine. You're always going to see something that's a little bit unique, and you're going to have to navigate through it. And I just think it teaches you that skill set. But
Awesome.
it's not all kids going to college, and it's not all kids just floating around. It's definitely a blend.
Absolutely. And that leads me just to one. I have so many more follow-up questions for you, Bill, but at least one more. So with your experience in something like fine dining, compared to more of a corporate setting, what are some of the biggest differences in the work environment from like more of an upscale or fine dining restaurant or environment to something that's more of either a local, single restaurant or a more casual dining experience?
That's a great question. I have actually talked people down who have started who maybe got a job in a fine dining restaurant that I'm working at, and they're stressed out. They're scared. It's fine dining. Oh my gosh, this is such a really nice restaurant. I'm walking on eggshells here. I pull them aside and I say, you're still just serving them dinner, lunch, or breakfast. That's all you're doing. You're just giving them a meal for the day. You got to kind of talk them off the ledge, so to speak, because if you're working in a Denny's compared to working in a fine dining restaurant, the stress levels are the same. It's just a different menu. It's a different price point. Truth be told, someone's coming in to have dinner, lunch, or breakfast. That's it. That's all it is. So if you can kind of calm them down, they don't have to, it's not such a nerve-wracking issue. Sure, there are more points to hit in a fine dining restaurant, and there's steps of service that you need to kind of hit these little points. But at the end of the day, you're just serving them a meal. You're giving someone a good time. It's still hospitality. I don't care if it's a formal situation or if it's Denny's. It's still just hospitality. And when you tell somebody, if you strip it down like that and kind of make it a little bit more basic, so to speak, it definitely calms down their nervous energy. At least I feel that way.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. I mean, just hearing you say that now, I would imagine that it would be a lot more stressful in a higher price point or an environment
Sure.
that was more fine dining. But it does seem actually that it's fundamentally the same skill set. As
It's
long as you
exactly.
have the skills to do it, you can work in any environment and feel confident that way.
I feel as though there are people who work in, say, a fast casual type of atmosphere, maybe some beachy restaurant with a patio that overlooks the water, but it's super casual. Their level of stress may be a lot harder than someone who may work at, say, a Ruth's Chris, who has a 4-table station and that's all they've got. They
Mhm.
may have more points they have to hit in that 4-table station, but that person working a patio on the beach has 10 tables. It's a lot, and it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stress. And so I don't see one as being above the other. It's just a different type of work, but that's it. The stress is the same.
Sure. And then just to round out our conversation tonight, Bill, thank you so much for being so candid and for joining us, especially as a parent of Capo kids. Restaurants, we all know, have been hit really hard in different ways this year throughout the pandemic. So besides just going out to restaurants when we can, are there any things that our students or families can do to support the restaurant industry as we move into the summer and into the newer part of the year?
I think it's nice that they are continuing to go out. In fact, it seems that people want to get out. We've had a year of this, and I definitely get the sense that we are getting back to normal. I worked the last couple of days, and we were quite busy. It's very obvious that people are kind of getting back out, and I think really that's all they can do to support it. It's just getting out and enjoying yourself, and obviously taking care of yourself, and doing the proper channels as far as your own protections and so forth. So if you're comfortable enough to get out, I definitely recommend them getting out and having a nice time wherever it is that they like to be, and having some patience. Actually, I've said this to a lot of guests recently. there is a new world order for sure in how we are serving people. So there's just different steps that we have to take. And I've jokingly said to some people, it's though whatever your weak hand is, you're suddenly working with that hand and your strong hand is tied behind your back because of the new regulations. And there are times when that can be actually pretty tough. I think patience by the guest is really helpful. I'm not saying be so patient that you get terrible service, but just understand that there are extra steps involved right now while we're going through this that is it's just the new normal, at least for now. And if
Sure.
guests come in understanding that, I think it's just helpful to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully for the safety of your staff who you work with and also for the patrons that are coming out. So
Sure, exactly.
absolutely. So students who are joining us, if you have any questions for Bill about his experience or anything else that you'd like to know from him, please feel free to drop it into the Q&A. I'm going to pass it back off to Jennifer, who is actually going to reintroduce Lee at Cal State Long Beach, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about his program. So thanks for joining us, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi again, everyone. So now we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of time to hear from Lee Fletcher, and he will tell us about all the great things happening at Cal State Long Beach's hospitality management program.
Well, thank you very much. Let's see here. I am Lee Fletcher. I'm the director of the program. So it's a pleasure talking to you and presenting to you about the hospitality management program at Cal State Long Beach. We are situated, if you don't know, sort of right on the border of Orange County and LA County, about 3 miles from the coast. And so it's an excellent geographical location for a couple of reasons, but one is that there's a lot of hospitality opportunities nearby for students to get work experience while they're going to work, and we're fairly close to downtown LA, and we're fairly close to Disneyland, and all the beach communities and resorts. So we have a lot of resources at our fingertips, and we can get at Cal State Long Beach a lot of guest speakers. People like Bill there would be great in one of our classes to talk to our students. Now that, so fair warning to you that they'll probably be hunting you down. And it's a beautiful campus, the campus at Cal State Long Beach, it has a lot of accolades. It is, I think it's ranked eighth in the nation for undergraduate applications. So it's quite popular. And we let in as many students as we can. And we prefer and we like to look towards local students to come into the program. But it has many, many, many accolades as far as a university goes. It's very student supportive. It's part of the CSU system. The CSU as a whole system, I think, is great, and it meets a lot of the needs for the community and for the students who want to advance their education. Our program is a pretty traditional hospitality management program, which means that it's kind of broad-based. It teaches you a foundation in all the different areas of hospitality. So it allows you to kind of explore them and go into the area that you want to go into. We teach, all the students end up taking courses in human resource management and finance and restaurant management, hotel management. So we give a broad range of basic foundation courses, and then students are allowed to expand that knowledge and go into specializations depending on their interests. So they want to take advanced hotels or advanced dining management or event management and different kinds of areas that might interest them. That's also available too within the curriculum, so that you can specialize in your area of interest and explore different areas. Part of our program, and this is pretty consistent with most hospitality management programs, is that we require work experience. So students do work part-time while they're going to school. To a certain extent, we require a certain number of hours. Most of them are in the industry anyhow. That's a lot of times kind of similar to what Bill had said. Sometimes that's how they got interested in it, because they worked, they liked it, they like working with people, and they want to grow in that area. I think that we try to advertise at the university that we're trying to build the future leaders of the industry. And the industry, from our point of view, the hospitality industry is quite broad. And I think you got an impression from that from the beginning of this whole presentation. But we have students going into restaurants, restaurant management, but we also have students going into other aspects of food service management, like for instance, maybe institutional type food services where you're running large scale food services at like stadiums or amusement parks, or even in healthcare, which in recent year has become one of the areas of high employment. So running food services, maybe hospitals or retirement centers, even those are kind of emerging areas. And then and students will find themselves working while they're going to school or afterwards in all kinds of levels of restaurants, from small to large, and some of them are interested in developing their own restaurant. You do learn the management skills to how to run a business, so that you can stay in business and that people will hire you and continue to hire you and promote you while you're in the program. And some students go into hotels. Many students go into hotels, and we have a relationship with a lot of the local hotels, major chains, and they hire our students. Our students do internships there. And then there's people who go into travel, people go into the airlines. We are working on maybe developing a cruise ship component to our program. But the hospitality industry is quite broad when you start expanding it and looking at all the different things, from entertainment to amusement parks to club management, and on and on, you know. So it's a huge industry with a lot of opportunities. In our program, we have affiliation with a lot of industries, local industries who come and recruit our students. We have about 95% on the average of placement. So the job market is quite well, though it did take a slight dip over this last year. I'm very glad also that it's picking up and starting to take off again. It's hard to hold down the hospitality industry, in my opinion, because it's one thing that you can't export. You can't hire somebody overseas to run a restaurant down the street from you. So it's always going to be a thing that you're going to be able to find work in my opinion. In our program at Cal State Long Beach, we have student clubs. People get involved. There's a hospitality club. There's an event club. There's an honor society. And we do events, fundraiser events or just events, and we usually bring students into that, or we have classes that participate in that to give experience and get more hands-on. There's a Japanese garden at Cal State Long Beach, which is quite beautiful, and starting in about May, normal years, they start doing weddings there, and our students get internships and experience there also. But our students get placed in a lot of different things, and one of the takes of hospitality industry that I'm myself have become sort of bonded with is the concept that what you're really doing, or in one way you can look at it, and all these things have in common, is that you're really managing a person's experience, and how do they feel, and how do they interact, and are their needs being met, and so forth. And we try to work with that sort of interpersonal skills that help people become successful in the industry. I always recommend people to go to college if they can. I think that it opens their minds and maybe exposes them to some areas that they may not otherwise have been involved with. We do have a lot of scholarships for students. And the industry has a lot of scholarships for students. So, you know, the restaurant industry, the hotel industry. So students can get scholarships, they can get help, and they can grow in that environment. And it's also should be a little fun for you to go to college. We have many students who transfer from the community college into our program, and some students who come directly into our program. So we have both. They have just so you know, there's at the community college level, you may or may not be aware of this, but there's a new hospitality management transfer degree that's being pushed quite a bit. And people can get that at the community college and then transfer into Cal State Long Beach, or they can come as freshmen and have a little bit longer experience at the university level. So let me see if there's anything else I can tell you about our program, or if that pretty much does it. We do require some more stuff about the program. We do require that everybody, as I said, get work experience, but everybody has to take internships, and it can be in different areas. That's part of it. The work experience, the rolls up your sleeves part is helpful to people moving into management training programs or things like this after they finish their degree program. And I think that kind of summarizes the Cal State Long Beach. I will recommend that I think everybody, or probably everybody here who's listening, is at least driving, can drive over to the campus. I recommend that when you can, you come by and take a look at it. I think you'll enjoy seeing it.
Thank you so much, Lee. I have
Yeah.
just one follow-up question for you about some of the different concentrations that you offer at Long Beach. Is there one that is like wildly popular than others? Like, is there one area of expertise that you feel like students choose Long Beach for specifically?
Well, I'll say no.
Okay.
The way we've set up the program is that we teach a lot of transferable skills, and we allow people to sort of choose their own concentration. And so we provide a basket of courses that students can choose from. In event management, which I know your next speaker is going to address, is quite popular, and some of our students go into that. We do have the option for students to take minors to enhance their education, so they can take a minor in event planning in the way our program is set up, or they can take a minor in human resources, or they can take a minor in marketing, or they can take a minor in different kinds of things, including recreation. And so a lot of students do that to enhance their background. But as far as if I took a poll of the students, it's kind of changed over time. It seems like up until the pandemic, it seemed like a rising area was festivals and going into that kind of large scale event planning.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I would say in the end, probably more students are going to the hotels than any. That's probably the winner of them all, I suppose, as far as where the students go. But some go in, and I would say the restaurants is just right close behind, especially students who have a culinary interest, and then they get the management background at a four-year school. And if they've also gone through a culinary program, that's a pretty powerful combination if they want to get advance in a restaurant chain, I found, or even maybe develop their own restaurant. That kind of stuff. That's my experience.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lee. We're so happy that you were able to join us this evening. We're going to continue on with our presentation this evening, and actually we're going to hear from another program within the Cal State system with Corinne, and actually one of her students from San Diego State.
Good evening. It's so amazing to be here and to just listen to Bill and Lee. And the one commonality is that we're all in hospitality. So, I was in it for 20 years. I didn't even know it existed as a job opportunity years ago. I just wanted out of high school, I went to college, and then I went to travel agent school. And then I'm like, I would just want to be around people. I want to do, we even back then, my sister and I, we do theme events. We didn't even know that was a thing that you could do. And it probably wasn't that big, but we'd theme parties just because it was fun, even as we were, in college. But what we have at San Diego State and the Payne School of Hospitality is so amazing. I stayed connected to colleagues and friends in the industry. I took some time, forced to take some time off last year in the DMC world, destination management, which is an amazing industry, and it's coming back as well. But I looked at getting out of the industry to see if maybe in my next 20 years I would do something different. However, I stayed involved with webinars and I worked on trainings. I got my food handler's license, thinking maybe I'll go into catering this time around, or maybe I'll do some nonprofits. So I did a lot of online courses, and then I got this opportunity to be part of the team over at San Diego State. And we have such an amazing program. Our goal and our vision is to be the most personalized school of its kind with our students. We had a 99% job placement rate for graduates pre-pandemic. Last year was a little tough, as we all understand, but this year we are getting so many outreaches to our graduates, like, we're ready to talk to your students. We need to hire, and it's across the board. So it's so exciting that it's just open like a floodgate. As Lee had mentioned, that we were all hopeful it would come back, and it's on its way, right? Again, similar to Lee, we have, when you graduate, you have about 200 hours of internship hours and work experience, which is so amazing to be able to do that through your classes. And you can come in as a transfer student, you can come in as a four-year freshman. A lot of our students, especially in the recreation tourism management side, RTM, it's a discovery major. They don't know that they can get a major for outdoor recreation and work in parks and rec, or work in national parks, or do leadership camps, or in sustainability, as well as recreation systems. So that side is where I'm going to be working with a lot of the students. And it's so amazing that exists. And I think that's where we're able to be on site and just connect with our students that may not came into college and not sure what they want to do. And then they see a student organization that's having an event, and they're like, wow, I could actually get these leadership skills, and that could be my career. Then on the other, oh, something fell off my slide. That was that part. So then on the hospitality tourism management side, we have hotel management, meetings and events, restaurant management, and travel gaming management. So we have 2 paths in our degree. We have a lot of real world professionals that are lecturers, guest lecturers for our classes. We have student associations. We do a lot of tours and to different businesses and recreation and hotels and DMCs, as well as a big part of our, a couple of our management degrees require study abroad. And as you know, we have an industry that have so many amazing donors that really support the students being able to experience their in classroom experience, but then also study abroad and see how it's done elsewhere. We're such a global community, right? So there's a lot of scholarships available. Typically in a year, we've handed out about 100,000 in scholarships. So there's lots of conversations to have with our students. And at the end of this and some follow-up, I know Kristen and Jennifer are going to be sending out emails that with contact information, if you want to get more information on how we do it and why we do it, and the support that all of our students get, that maybe Alondra could pipe in when she's up next. But yeah, it's, oh, there it is. I talked too soon. There's the recreation tourism management degrees. You can also get a minor in RTM.
Oh, awesome. Sorry about that. I didn't know it was an extra click on this slide.
I didn't either. There's still those little tricks that we're learning.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a short video just to share a little bit about the student experience, and then I'll have Alondra speak for a few minutes.
Okay, just let me know if you all can't hear the video, okay? Hopefully you can. Oh, sorry, I'm hearing that you all can't hear my sound. Let me try sharing my screen with sound again. So bear with me.
Well,
Here we go.
we can still talk. Oh,
We should be good now.
Alondra, you're on mute.
I was just wondering if you wanted me to speak first and then we could show the video, or I think she's got it.
Awesome, thank you.
I turn it on, I set the tone, and I know I'm ready to go. I saw you looking up against the wall, and I knew you were ready to go. Tonight, I'm a different guy, forget about the things you know. If you wanna do it, we can do it right. I can see you coming home, 'cause you're ready to go. Is that a yes or a no? 'Cause you're ready to go. Is that a
Maybe you all can just put on your own Spotify tunes to match up to some amazing scripts that our students do and who we are. I turn it on, I set the tone, and I know I'm ready to go. I saw you looking up against the wall, and I knew you were ready to go. Tonight, I'm a different guy, forget about the things you know. If you wanna do it, we can do it right. I can see you coming home, 'cause you're ready to go. Is that a yes or a no? 'Cause you're ready to go. Is that a yes or a no? 'Cause I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. 'Cause I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Awesome, makes me want to go back to college and major in this. Now if we can hear from Alondra, I think you were gonna share about your experience.
All right, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really cool with amazing, fun pop tunes with the background, but I hope it gave you a little sense of who we are. And I just wanted to introduce Alondra Hernandez, a second-year student, and she's just going to talk a little bit about her experience.
Yeah, everyone. So I'm really excited to talk about just my experience with SDSU. And to be honest, just to be completely transparent with everyone, I came into SDSU and that was my last choice in school. I came in and I applied to hospitality because I was like, okay, like I'm probably not going to go there anyways. But then I ended up going there, and I remember coming in my first day, and I came into the office for our HTM program, and I was ready to switch majors. I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. So I came in, and then I sat down in the office, and this guy, Carl Winston, who's the director for our major, comes out and sits next to me, and he just asks me about me. And he asked me about what I want to do with my life and like what I was doing in the office, what brought me in there today. And at that point, that's when I realized that the Payne School was where I really belonged at SDSU. I mean, I've expanded from there. I've gotten involved with several organizations just around campus and everything, but it all started with hospitality. So just what Corinne said about said about our mission, about it being the goal is to be the most personal school ever is true from the get-go. Every time that I've seen a new student come into the office, the first thing that Carl or Christina ask them is, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to be? Why are you in hospitality? And they're continuously working you towards becoming that.
Sometimes
If you
my
want to be
sound-
an event planner, okay. The Meeting and Event Student Association is having a meeting tonight. You should go. If you want to go into hotels, okay, cool. So like on Thursday next week, the Lodging Management Student Association is hosting an event. Go join. And they're continuously pushing you to do that. And continuously doing that. For me, it was the National Society of Minorities in Hospitality. But even just that, even though those are several examples, I think Corinne and I are like just two examples of how they try to be personalized. You hear a lot about like SDSU having recruiters, or NAU, or any college you could possibly think of has recruiters for their campus. But all they do is they come, they offer them what they have. They want you to apply to their school with their major, and then they like come back out. And then they're like, you probably never hear from them
How's that
again.
right here?
We can hear you, Corinne. Oh, she can't hear me. Okay. Can everyone else hear me though? Are we good?
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you. And I believe we can hear Corinne as well, or someone in
Cool.
the background.
Cool. So just to like keep going, there's like recruiters everywhere. But Corinne isn't one of those recruiters that like tells you about our program and then just leaves. She's continuously working and getting you networked with everyone there so that she knows you have a good foundation for what you're doing. The reason I'm here isn't because I am the best person to talk about the Payne School, because they could have easily asked a senior who is about to graduate, has a job, ready to go out into the industry. But they asked me because they know that I want to recruit when I get out into the industry. And that's what they did. That's why they asked me to be here, because they know this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So they want to prepare me. I just think it's funny how Bill mentioned earlier about how we need to learn how to work with teams, work with different personalities, and continuously do that. And I just thought it was funny because that's exactly what I did this Tuesday in my class. Everyone in my class did a personality test. We got paired up
You can
with
hear
people.
me now? That I can't hear you. Good job, Alondra. I am so sorry. I don't know what is going on.
We can hear you, Corinne.
That is so weird. Wait, let me click. You can hear me now?
We can hear you talking, yeah.
Oh, that's so weird. I am so sorry, but thanks, Alondra, I'm so glad we're a team. And these are the students we produce. That is so weird. Right now I've got to just wrap it up. I know are we good on time?
We're good so far, yes.
Okay. Who hires Payne School students? A lot of our partners, just like Lee was talking about, we have some great, if you're not up the coast in Orange, then you can come down to San Diego, and we have amazing partners that we work with, the Hiltons. We have a Four Seasons meeting next week, the Marriott's, PRA. We just have some great partnerships with these organizations that really respect what we teach, and that's leadership skills, so that they can go off and do some amazing work in ideally hospitality. But during this last year, a lot of our students with the skills that were taught were able to do other jobs because they are transferable skills. So they can go from, restaurant management to hotels to, senior living facilities. They can do amazing leadership jobs with insurance companies or real estate agents. And so those are obviously what we've seen in the last year. It is different, but again, it's about focusing on those leadership skills and the poise, and like Bill talked about in restaurants, those skills that you learn to deal with different people and how to react, and professionalism and work as a team, and have a great experience for your guests is all about hospitality. So sorry about the little technical difficulties, but we really appreciate you being here. And some of our student organizations, as we talked about, are listed here. We have 7 of them. They're really involved in our communities. We have foodies, we have the tribal gaming group, lodging, meetings and events, recreation tourism. Scream they did a fun one. We did a virtual screening of a sustainable movie, which is great in time for Earth Day. And they also work with attractions, which in Southern California is amazing. Legoland's hiring like crazy. Everything's starting to open back up. So attractions and festivals, we'll get back there full steam ahead really soon.
Awesome. Thank you both. Thank all of our panelists for coming. Alondra, I just have one follow-up question for you, and then students, feel free to ask in the Q&A if you have questions for any of our panelists at this point as we kind of wind down for the evening. So Alondra, your ultimate career goal is to help be a recruiter and do job placement for students in hospitality. Is that what I have correct?
Yeah, so I actually want to go into human resources. I enjoy the recruiting aspect of it, just everything about human resources. I just enjoy the legal side, the logistical side, the recruiting side, where you get to talk to and interview people and see if they're a right fit for the company and you're a right fit for them. But yeah, that's what I want to go into.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure that we had that all clarified for our students too, because I think sometimes they don't realize that, of course, that's a part of management. And it's definitely something that you need really wonderful leadership skills to have, but it's also included in this type of degree pathway and program. So that's excellent. Awesome. Well, we're going to leave the Q&A open for just a few more moments to see if any students have additional follow-up questions for all of our panelists. Again, thank you all so much for joining us. This presentation will be recorded and it will be posted up on our YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, for the students who weren't able to join us live, and for some of our CCA and CTE classes to watch as a replay later.
Well, thank you very much for letting us be part of it. And it's an amazing program. And I think just being here with Lee and Bill and yourselves, I hope our students know that there's lots of resources to try to help them figure out how to get where they want to go, right? And even if you don't know initially, you can still find your way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Bill, Lee, do you all have any questions for each other or for Jennifer and I as we wind down tonight? I don't think we have too many more student questions that are coming in.
Well, I'll ask you a question because I'm kind of curious on your school district there. Where are, I'm not that familiar with the school district and what schools are there. I don't know if any of them have any kind of career paths that are towards hospitality or or anything like that. Is there such a thing like that in the school district?
There is. So we have a really robust, what we call career and technical education component of our program and district. And so we actually have several schools that have a combination of culinary arts predominantly, but then we also have virtual and business enterprising courses. We have specific courses after school that have to do with the hospitality field in general. So we have a lot of great exposure for students, I think, and Jen, you can totally chime in here as well. But I think it's great to see through fruition, when we talk about a K-14 pathway, like when you're really talking about helping students plan what their options are and what that looks like from the 12th grade or high school level moving through, if their choice is college, or otherwise if it's not.
Right. Wait, is there certain community colleges that they tend to go to, or they're all over? Or
I
are
would
there
say
feeder ones?
probably our biggest feeder is Saddleback College. That's the absolute closest one to us here. But we also have a lot of students, depending on what their interests are or what programs align, that go up to Irvine Valley College and also to Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa. And I know Orange Coast has a very robust culinary arts program as well.
Yeah, they do have and they also have a hospitality program, but Saddleback one is also growing, as I understand, and it's becoming stronger. So that's great.
Well, I think if we don't have any other lingering questions, I'm very happy to let us all leave a little bit early for dinner this evening. But thank you again so much, all of you, for joining us. We could not put on these webinars or presentations without buy-in from our local community. And so I can't express enough how thankful we are to have you join us and help explain, what you do to our students.
Absolutely. I will echo what Kristen said. Thank you once again for taking some time out of your busy days, your hectic schedules, to join us tonight. We really appreciate it. And hopefully the students joining us tonight got a lot out of it as well. You all really gave us some good gems, some good insight, and helpful tips for our students. So thank you again. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to collaborating with you all in the future. And students, hopefully we see you at our future events as well, okay? Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.